Hey guys, it's Dan from Kayfabe6, and I'm going to be talking about the man that is finally getting the recognition he deserves from the complete wrestling world. If you have no clue who I'm talking about, I'm talking about Kevin Owens. If you still have no clue who I'm talking about, you really need to watch the videos I'm going to reference throughout this video. Kevin Owens is a part of that current wave of NXT wrestlers to come to WWE from the independent slash outside organizations, but with massive followings. In a list that includes Finn Balor, aka Fergal Devitt, the founder of the Bullet Club, and most recently the Samoan submission machine Samoa Joe. So Kevin Owens came into NXT with a strong work shoot persona slash storyline, focusing on how everything he does is for his family and how he's watched all of his friends and colleagues go to the WWE long before he did, and now it's his opportunity. Although Owens does not use the package pile driver, which has to be one of my favorite finishers out there, he still managed to make a huge impact in his debut, and most importantly in the main event when he took out his lifelong friend slash indie kayfabe rival, Sami Zayn, aka El Generico, those that are more familiar with the independent scene, after Zayn finally secured the NXT title in a very bold heel push for Kevin Owens. El Generico and Kevin Steen has to be one of the best rivalries outside of the WWE, despite the fact that El Generico, Sami Zayn, never got on the mic, and I love that WWE went with this route right from the get-go. The incident led to their title match where Owens won via referee stoppage and has held on to that title with a very tight grip, and has now recently made his splash onto the main roster when he came out for John Cena's US Open Challenge and stood out by actually not even wrestling John in that call out, coming out to the ring, acknowledging everybody, but just walking away, and ended up getting the title shot or not a title shot, in the match with Cena at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view most recently. This match is a must-watch for millions of reasons, as the WWE Universe was left in shock from a very well-worked match with plenty of great spots, and Kevin Owens actually going over clean on John Cena. This is the first time John Cena has given someone the big rub, but I was really expecting a very dirty finish, maybe a DQ, especially considering John Cena's run with the U.S. title. I was really surprised to see John take the fall for Owens, but all in all, it's definitely going to be for the best. And the big news out of all of this is that due to Rusev's recent injury, WWE actually decided to sign Kevin Owens to a main roster deal and have him split between NXT and the main roster. So this happened before the Elimination Chamber match, but after that match, no one can question that decision, as it has been instantly validated, as many people are considering this to be probably one of the best WWE debuts of all time. You know what? I can't help but look at this as such a massive positive for WWE and its future. I will admit I only been familiar with Kevin Steen for a year at most, after hearing he was on his way to WWE with Prince Devitt. I think the first match I watched him in was him versus Jay Briscoe, and I just kept digging more and more into his career and just developed more respect for the guy, for everything about him. He's such a complete wrestler, as he is phenomenal on the mic, very gifted performer with a strong moveset and ring psychology, and he can work both as a heel or as a face. The only issue that has stopped him from coming to WWE much sooner was his physical appearance. He's not your muscle-bound, six-pack athlete, and he's not that standard archetype of wrestler that Vince McMahon just completely loves off and is known for pushing aggressively. The fact that both him and Samoa Joe are now in the WWE is a sign that there is a change in the logic in upper management, and it's almost saying, thank God. Samoa Joe has a similar issue with his body type, despite being a wrestler that can fly. Joe can get some serious hang time, and even to make it even more interesting with the signing and just kind of show a bit of a change here, he's the first wrestler to ever be sold, or ever to be signed, actually, directly from Impact Wrestling. So that says a lot, especially considering that WWE has never really acknowledged Impact Wrestling, despite a lot of previous WWE wrestlers going there, maybe some guys wrestling in Impact and then somewhat making their way over through like a long stint in the independent scene. But this is the first time where you actually have one of a big name guy going the other way and actually even keeping his name. So what I enjoy even more, back to Kevin Owens, is the way that Owens continues to be booked right now. WWE did not try to put him into some gimmick to differentiate from his indie legacy, as I'd like to call it, but embrace the simple notion that if it isn't broken, don't fix it, don't touch it, leave it be. Kevin is amazing at what he does in the ring and out of it, with a mic in his hand or a wrestler in front of him. His in-ring promo on Raw after the Elimination Chamber had me in awe when he went into details explaining why he decided to go after John Cena in one of the strongest work shoot promos I've ever seen since the pipe bomb from CM Punk. He referred to the way kids supported John Cena in a sense of blind worship, and how Cena is a role model pushed by the WWE marketing machine. And he even went very personal by talking about how he had his own son watch John Cena and become a John Cena fan while he had to work all around the world because he wasn't in the WWE. So it was really cool to see that really very, very real angle brought into this. There's no way the geniuses in the back came up with this one, as it's really coming across more and more that Kevin Owens is going to be like a Bray Wyatt, someone that has control of his promos and has control of what he's saying on the mic, which is absolutely perfect when you have a talent like that, right? This continued style of booking that we see from not just Owens but from Dean Ambrose and previously CM Punk, combined with WWE signing MMA clothing provider Tap Out for merchandise, just shows that WWE is really trying to make a big push to go after that 18 plus audience, which is brilliant. We grew up on professional wrestling, but WWE needs to somewhat grow up with us, if that makes any sense, or we will happily switch our TVs to Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Lucha Underground, amazing independents like Smash Wrestling or Progressive Wrestling. I even remember with myself that I was fully pulled into TNA in its early years strictly for the in-ring ability of the X Division, because I just didn't like what was happening in WWE at the time. So it's interesting because it almost comes in waves where WWE shifts their focus, where, as we've seen in the early days of very bright colors, trying to go more for children, like Doink the Clown, Papa Shango, all these weird characters, to the Monday Night Wars, and then we go through the Attitude Era to the post-Attitude Era, where WWE controlled the top spot and still, it still trumps most promotions despite not necessarily having a better in-ring product. And to what my favorite wrestling podcast now refers to as the indie era, where we're seeing a lot of these independent wrestlers come to WWE, takes a good while, but eventually become champions. More and more of the WWE roster is now coming from this scene, and the total is at 4 right now of former ROH slash very popular independent wrestlers that have held the WWE Championship, and it's only a matter of time before Kevin joins that list. It's still unclear how long Owens will be part of all brands at once, and if he will spend some time in the mid-title scene before jumping after the big belt, essentially. I do feel like there's no way that Finn Balor will not leave WWE Japan in July without the NXT title around his waist, and this could serve as more of a transition into Owens being pushed into the main roster. Once his program is done with John Cena, we could even see the Sami Zayn feud start back where it left off, and because realistically it's been 2 dusty finishes, one being both of them being referee stoppages, and more recently to allow Zayn to get much needed surgery that he's been pushing off for a good while. But realistically, like I said before, this is one of the biggest rivalries in wrestling outside of WWE, so if this were to happen at its full potential on the main roster, this would be huge for the WWE, and it would just continue that push for pure wrestling fans. Like, I know there's, and obviously there's going to be some bit of involvement with Samoa Joe in the near future, but like I said, it's only a matter of time before we see more of the Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens angle. I'm not a religious man, but I'm praying that WWE does not screw this up, as this is a really phenomenal opportunity. I feel like we'll have a repeat of Royal Rumble if Owens does not get a decent booking, as I feel like from now to January, the Owens train is going to keep growing, and people that's going to be the guy that people are going to want to see win the Royal Rumble, unless Daniel Bryan miraculously comes back from injury. But that's my rant. Here are 2 links I recommend to check out, to fully understand Kevin Owens a little bit more outside of WWE content. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at kayfabe6.